So my new role with SpotX is the head of the Advanced Solutions Group. And the Advanced Solutions Group is designed to really work with pay TV providers, operators, telcos, MVPDs and the like globally. So we've got a global remit to really work with our customers on a consultative basis. And so the idea is as you start to look at total video across all of these different channels, including television, the way that audiences are being addressed and the way that media is being bought and sold is starting to change, and it's getting much more complex. So you're thinking about bringing things like data into the transaction, you're starting to think about like how you protect that data inside the transaction, and you're also looking at how you wire up all of the different audience pockets you have across all of your different devices and screens where the content is now being viewed. We see a huge shift in live and linear occurring into OTT spaces, things like connected television devices, etc. But we're also seeing a continuing uptick on mobile devices and still seeing very strong growth in desktops. So as an organization, you start to see all of these different outlets for your content to be consumed, and you need a strategy that really effectively addresses how you're going to monetize that content, both across all devices, across multiple geographies where sales models are different, and using data strategies that are sometimes complex. So as part of what we've done at SpotX is create the Advanced Solutions Group to specifically give guidance to our customers in a consultative manner to allow them to navigate this space and help them with everything from systems level architecture to even kind of understanding how to construct business and deal terms so that they can optimize their yield across all their screens. One of the things that we're seeing on a global level, particularly in the connected TV space, which for us encompasses everything from gaming consoles, streaming media sticks, streaming media players, so things like Roku devices, Chromecasts, Xboxes, and the smart TVs themselves, is that you're starting to see varying levels of adoption, but in all cases, whether that be Asia, North America, or Europe, we're starting to see a trend where people are consuming content on their big screen in their living room, but it's delivered via OTT. So this is a tremendous opportunity because it allows for the actual personalization of the advertising in the stream, which lifts the yields for the publishers who are trying to do, and media owners who are trying to deliver content in this space. But it also varies region by region. We just released some research that's available on our site that kind of details the growth in Europe. But we're also seeing big growth in Asia around different devices and different consumption methods in the OTT space, although Asia tends to be more mobile heavy. And then in North America right now, the actual delivery of full pay TV cable packages is in full swing. So we're starting to see multiple entrants into the market that are delivering complete pay TV experiences with everything from your pay channels like HBO to ESPN, Fox Sports, ABC, NBC, the full live and linear spectrum plus VOD, but it's all being delivered by OTT now, and it's being done directly to streaming media boxes, Chrome sticks, and players. So the whole paradigm underneath pay TV is essentially shifting to create this, I can start watching a video on one screen, I can move into another room in my house, continue watching that on my television. The interface is standardized, and the advertising, from our perspective and where we come into the picture, is personalized across all of the screens. So what's interesting about Europe in terms of penetration is each market is moving independently. So you start to see some markets like the UK that are moving very, very quickly into OTT content delivery. And then you start to look at other markets like France, for example, is much more IPTV heavy in terms of the delivery. So they lean a little more traditionally, although still growing there. So as you start to get into country by country, you start to see really interesting pockets. In the top 5, overall growth in Europe has been very strong. If you look at countries like, or regions like the Nordics, and if you look at countries like Netherlands, the OTT consumption is already very, very high. So penetration is high, monetization is high, investment and monetization strategy is very high. In Asia, we're also seeing a lot of growth in the OTT space. However, a lot of that's being driven right now, I think, by a handful of players, and then much of the content's being delivered in models where piracy still becomes a concern. So what you're starting to see is particularly like telcos and operators themselves coming up with video strategies where they're delivering content in a zero-rated fashion so that actually pirated content is more costly than watching advertising-supported content, because the pirating content incurs data and the advertising-supporting content doesn't. And we see this as a major model for Asia moving forward, which is a huge trend in favor of platforms like ours that focus on ad-supported video delivery. We're super excited about everything that's happened with RTL to date. They took a majority stake in SpotX in 2014. I think the fact that they've come up and they've stepped up and acquired the full company has been a really positive sign. It's keyed off on our growth. Our growth has been fantastic over the last 3 years, where we've really kind of met and exceeded our objectives as a company moving forward. The idea that we can really double down on our growth globally is incredibly exciting, and to have a partner like RTL behind us as we continue to move forward is just a great place to be. In terms of Europe, we've seen tremendous growth across all markets. Obviously, UK is a very advanced market when it comes to delivery of content via OTT, but we're also seeing growth in Germany. We're seeing growth in new initiatives in France and in Spain and in Italy, where we've just appointed a new country director there. So we're really bullish on Europe as a whole when it comes to its growth prospects. So one of the questions that we get a lot is around the growth in OTT of which services and how that time and consumption is going to land. So we've seen the trends that show us people are moving to time-shifted content in general. We've also seen a lot of SVOD services come out. So those are subscription-based video on demand. And what we really kind of see and we project in the marketplace is that there is a overall limit in saturation in the SVOD services, because there's only so much people are willing to pay for the SVOD services. We're already starting to see this in the US, where there are so many different types of subscription services that there's been a real kind of growth and push underneath the advertising supported video delivery, because users essentially and viewers don't want to pay for everything. Free TV has been very popular. In Europe, free TV is very popular. And so we see the OTT space in many instances mimicking what's happened in the traditional pay TV space, with a tremendous amount of content being delivered in an advertising supported model. We think that speaks to the growth prospects of this whole industry.